What's up? What's happening, Auburn fans? Please check in if anyone can hear me. Having some technical difficulties this morning, but we are here. We are here to talk about Auburn and Georgia. A little reaction show. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me. Little technical difficulties, but we're trying to get it to work today. Another heartbreaking, crucial loss for the Auburn Tigers. And when you look at the things with Hugh Freeze at Auburn, you haven't beaten a rival. You're 1-11. You're 1-11 in ranked games. You continuously find ways to lose football games. And you tell us we're almost there. We're so close. And it's just the same thing. And I keep telling each and every one of you every week that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. And in my opinion, that is what Auburn University is doing right now. You are doing the same thing every week, expecting a different result. And that's a losing culture. It's just losing. It's a losing mentality. Point blank, period. There's no other way to put it besides you're a loser. That's it. You're a loser. And I just don't think the Hugh Freeze tenure can last at Auburn any longer. I think it is time. I think you have to pull that trigger. And I think you have to move on. I don't want to put together a coaching search just yet, a list of names. Me personally, I don't want to do it. I hope Auburn's doing it behind the scenes. But let's be real. You have had three cracks. You have had three cracks, three opportunities against Oklahoma, against Texas A&M, and now against Georgia. And you have lost the same exact way all three times. You've lost the same exact way all three times. First off, let's start off with penalties. All right. I went on the radio the other day. I said, hey, we're not a disciplined football team. We're the furthest thing from it. We're constantly in double-digit penalties. Constantly. We stay there. Guys still haven't learned the false start issue, the holding issue. Every time there's a big play for Auburn, it always gets negated due to a penalty. And it puts Auburn right back behind the chains. That's the first thing. You're still not disciplined. You still don't have it right. Your special teams is still a disaster. We don't have a punter who can flip the field. I mean, at one point last night, Georgia was starting every drive at the 50 because our offense was stalling and our punter, I think he had a 14-yard punt at one point. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? We're just not a good football team. We're not. That's it. And it's not going to get any better. And we're going to keep sitting here hoping and praying that it's the same thing. You're probably going to win a couple games down the stretch and you're going to get really excited. And then you're going to lose your next big one. And it's going to be the same thing every single year. You're going to go into next year and you're going to get really excited. If Hugh Freeze stays in this program, you're going to be really excited and you're going to say, oh man, we could probably win 8-9 games. And then it's going to be the same dang thing. Because it hasn't improved from year 1 to year 2, now to year 3. Go check my tweet. What I told you last episode. When I went on the radio the other day, I told them the coaches in the conference haven't done any favors for Hugh. because they're going into programs and they're turning them around in 2 years. Kurt Signetti, I know his name pops up all the time when people on Twitter say, who do you want as Auburn's next coach? He went to Indiana, a place where it's got to be ridiculously hard to recruit because I don't think they have a single 5-star or 4-star on their roster. And he turned them in to a football school right now because they've always been a basketball school, but now they're so bad at basketball, he's turned them into a daggone football school. And they go to the college football. Indiana has made the college football playoffs before Auburn has. That is piss poor pitiful. That's piss poor pitiful, man. But they go in and they turn the program around, and he's turned that program into something. Another thing I'd like to say is I put this out on Twitter. Trinidad Chambliss at Ole Miss is a Division II transfer from Ferris State. And Lane Kiffin has got him out here, and he's slinging the pigskin all around the yard. He's throwing for 300 yards a game. He's running for another 75 to 100 a game. And we got a 5-star plus number 1 quarterback in the country coming out of high school, goes to Oklahoma, and we can't rack up 50 yards and a half. We drop back and throw the ball 31 times a game, and our guy can't break 175 yards passing. Everybody says, "Well, it's an evaluation issue. Maybe it's a development issue. Maybe it's a development issue. Maybe it's a Hugh Freeze issue." Have we ever thought of that? Because at this point, it all comes back to the head coach. Last year, I was saying, man, we're just not making plays to win games. Like Robert Lewis dropping the ball at Missouri, we're just not making plays to win games. This year, it's worse than last year. It is worse than last year. 10 times worse than last year. And another thing is all I see is excuses across the board for everybody. It's like, well, Jackson Arnold did have somebody in his face. And that's kind of a hard throw right there. No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not the route we're going to take. Okay? That's not the route we're going to take, because in order to play at the next level, guess what, folks? You got to stand in there and you got to make some throws. You can't just say, well, I had somebody in my face. Watch the Broncos early this morning. By the way, another guy that we told to kick rocks, he ended up being a first-round pick. And now he's 4-2 in the NFL, sent the Broncos to the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. But remember, Auburn told him to kick rocks. Okay? Funny. There's a problem at Auburn. But I watch him. Game's on the line. 2nd and 10. Jet spring pressure. Guess what? Stays calm, cool, collected, turns to his running back. I got Harvey out there in the flat. Let me dump it to him. Let's pick up 10 yards and win the football game. Go kick a field goal and win it. Everybody's like, oh, well, Jackson, he had somebody in his grill. Dog, you're going to have people in your grill as part of the game. At the next level, you don't think people are going to be in your grill? You have to stand in there and deliver the football. And he's missed. He missed in Oklahoma game. He didn't do anything in the Texas A&M game. And he missed last night against Georgia in crunch time. If he throws a strike to Eric Singleton and he hangs on and he stays in stride, that's a touchdown, y'all. Auburn's in the lead. It's a group as a whole. Auburn isn't doing their job. On the coaching staff, they're not doing their job. Well, on one side. Let's don't get over into that defensive side. But on one side, they're not doing their job. And then the players on the field aren't doing their job. Let's just be honest. Our offensive line is still bad. Watched it multiple times last night. Still bad. Wasn't terrible. It wasn't like the previous 2 games, but it was still bad. Like I said, double-digit penalties. The only positive thing I think happened for Auburn last night was I talked about how you had to come out and start fast. You got to go fast. You got to get out the gate. Auburn hasn't gotten out of the gate yet. And they did that last night, man. What a beautiful drive to start the game. I thought that script was perfect. You know, it was promising. You ran the football. You really you ran some play action off of that run, man. It opened some things up. Preston Howard was playing great. Frazier was playing great. You got the ball to your tight ends. You got the ball to your playmakers, and you score. And then all of a sudden, we get to a third and goal on the 1-yard line right before halftime. We do a tush push. The ball gets knocked out, and we never recovered. We never recovered from that point. Never recovered from that point. Now, was Jackson Arnold in? Yes, it was a touchdown. It was a touchdown. Did they miss the call? Yes, they missed the call. Do we need to remove the replay center from Birmingham, Alabama? Yes, we do. It's got to get out of Birmingham, Alabama. Because as long as it's in Birmingham, Alabama, the Auburn Tigers are not going to catch a call, period. It's not going to happen. It's got to get out of Birmingham. That's the first thing. The second thing is, it was a 10-point swing. Like that. Bang. 10-point swing. It went from going to be 17-0 to now 10-0. And then Georgia goes right down the field, almost scores a touchdown, ends up kicking a field goal. And in that process, you lose one of your best defensive backs, Kayan Lee, to a targeting call, which they didn't call on the field. They stopped the next play and ran back and replayed it and then called targeting. And my thing with this is, on that drive, you let Kirby Smart dictate what happened all the way down the field. All the way down the field, you let Kirby Smart dictate what was going to happen and how Georgia was going to maneuver down there to get points on the board before the half. And you can't tell me any differently. You can't. Kirby was pressing every button on that officiating crew, and he hit it just right because they were listening to everything that he had to say. So it was going to be 17-0 going into half, and instead it's 10-3 because Georgia goes down and knocks a field goal in. Now, you got screwed. You got hosed, whatever you want to call it. But guess what? You have to come out and you have to play with your hair on fire in that second half. And you couldn't. Because guess what? You have a coach that didn't make adjustments to what the other coach did in the other locker room. Period. Don't want to hear nothing else about it. Hugh Freeze did absolutely nothing to adjust to what Kirby was going to do. It's a puzzle game. It's a chess game. Kirby said, hey, I'm going here. Hugh's not going to go here. So my next move will be here because I'm 2 steps ahead of him. And that's it. You did nothing in the second half. Nothing. Jeremiah Cobb only had 12 carries too. I'm done. I'm done. We just have a coach. We have a coach that it's just not going to happen, y'all. It's just not going to happen. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm tired of talking about it. We got embarrassed in the second half. You had a quarterback that couldn't make throws in the second half. I mean, the ball to Perry Thompson, it was at his ankles. That's a first down. Perry, if you hit him in the chest, Perry's running for days. And you throw it at his feet. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. But people, last year when I was saying this after the Cal game, I said, it is absolutely embarrassing that Auburn lost to Cal in Jordan-Hare Stadium. And at that point, I said, you know what? I said, man, I have been the biggest Hugh Freeze fan, and I'm going to back him as long as he's Auburn's coach. But losing to Cal, he should have been fired on the spot. And I tell you what, Blake, you're too mean. You shouldn't talk about Auburn the way you do. Nothing's changed. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Let's be real, y'all. Nothing's different. We got smoked in the second half. They almost had what? How many yards of offense? They ran like 15 plays in the first half or something like that. They ended up having like almost 300 yards of offense in the second half, and we had what? 30? Maybe? 20? Come on, y'all. Come on. It's not getting any better. I refuse to listen to him. Is that what he said again? He basically said things didn't go our way. We thought that the nose of the football broke the plane, but it didn't happen for us. And we had to bounce back, and we couldn't do it. That's basically what he said. War down, Blake. You're spot on. Appreciate you, Ernest. Glad you're here, man. That game should forever be remembered as the collapse. It was. It is simple as that. It was a collapse by your quarterback. It was a collapse by your head coach. And I feel truly, truly sorry for those kids on defense. What a freaking game, man. What a freaking performance for your defense, Keldrick Falk. Wow, breaking news there. James Franklin just got fired. Keep him far and away from Auburn. Keep him far away from Auburn. Do not want that at all. Buddy lost to UCLA and Northwestern. Terrible. For Keldrick Falk to dominate the line of scrimmage, for Keyron Crawford to play the game that he played, I thought Kayan Lee was tremendous until he got ejected for just football is soft, man. Football has gotten soft. It's gotten to be a sport that is extremely review happy. I mean, that the last 2 minutes of the first half took 31 minutes in real time. It's soft. Our defense was playing their tails off. Xavier Atkins brought it again. Robert Woodyard brought it again. And our offense can't freaking bring it. Yes, going up 17-0, I do think the game would have played out a little differently. I do think that they would have been down 3 scores and it would have been ridiculously hard to come back on our defense. But guess what? It didn't happen that way. And our offense couldn't cut it in the second half because our head coach can't make adjustments. Play calling is just not there. And we find ways to lose games. It is a loser mentality. There's no way. There's nothing else to say. There's no other way to put it. He's just a loser. He's just going to find ways to continue to lose games. That's it. The refs were terrible, but Auburn didn't stand up in the second half. For sure, Richard. For sure. Got to move the football. I cut it off after that whole debacle because Coach Hugh Freeze can't get out of his own way, out of his own head after something like that happens. Look, you can't pout on it in game. Now, is it ridiculously hard? I told our group this last night. Is it ridiculously hard for these kids to overcome that? Yes. You could see the emotions when Kayan got ejected. When Kayan got ejected for targeting, you could see the emotions. What I tried to read from his lips was him basically saying, hey, they're trying to F us. When they were trying to grab him and hold on to him and hug him, that's basically what I got from him. Was he was telling our coaches they are trying to F us. And that is at the point. It wasn't the fumble I thought we were cooked. It was when when I saw the players trying to corral him and saying, hey, man, look, come on, hold it together, like support your teammates. And he was just emotional. He was emotional because he knew what was going on. And at that point, I said, "Man, those kids are cooked, man. They're cooked. They're cooked. I don't. It's going to be really hard." I even told my dad. My dad got mad at me last night because he was like, "Man, you're so negative." And I was like, "Dad, you can just look and tell the mood on the sideline is completely different." That's another one. EPW. That's another one, man. What a BS call. Football has become soft. All right. I used to call it a gladiator sport, a warrior sport, a real grown man sport. It's not that anymore. It's not. It's soft. It's soft. James Franklin getting fired. Just clicked on it on my phone. That's crazy, man. Can't look. That's part of it in the coaching carousel is you can't lose games that you shouldn't. And mad props to Penn State for doing it because they're not playing games. The last 2 minutes to end the half was the worst football I've ever watched for sure. Well, then we had another 30 minutes in the second half. That was pretty bad too, EPW. That was pretty bad too. Auburn needs to quit looking for handouts and folding every time they don't get one. Starts at the top. Bang! Bang! And where I'll say this is different from Oklahoma, the Oklahoma game was kind of all throughout the game where Auburn got screwed. This, in my opinion, wasn't all throughout the game. It was just a small portion of the game where Auburn got rooked. You still had other opportunities. Like I said, you had Eric Singleton over the middle of the field, wide open. If he catches that football, if you hit him, Auburn wins this game. And you failed to do so. That's a fact, Richard. Robert Woodyard just about killed a man yesterday on that blitz. He did. He did. Shout out to the Mobile kid. The 2025 AU program has a QB issue more than a freeze issue. Think about it. 2 missed TDs, critical fumble, missed key passes, etc. Plus, stop the Napoleon Dynamite goofy hand gesture. Ja looks bad. Yeah, I think it's a collection of everything. Ja gets a lot of the load, but I think it's as a whole, right? As a collective, as a group, I think it's everybody. But Ja, yeah, you got to hold on to the football down at the goal line. He couldn't. I understand he was trying to make a play. I get that. It didn't work out. I don't know, man. I think Jeremiah Cobb over the top or something. I'm all about giving it to your best players in those situations. And I get it. You're 6 inches out. You try to do a QB sneak. I'm just all about giving it to my best player. And I think 23 is one of our best players. And to not see the ball go into your best player's hands is kind of frustrating. But that's the way it goes. I don't call the plays. I don't get paid $7 million a year, and so on and so forth. So I do think it's a collective group that is the problem. But hey, guess what? When people say, "Oh, well, if Jackson Arnold, he's not playing that bad. If he could do this," well, Hugh recruited him to Auburn and he signed him. So it falls back on Hugh, and this game falls back on Hugh, and the 3-3 record falls back on Hugh. The 0-3 record in the SEC falls back on Hugh. And let's be honest, what Brian Harsin was doing wasn't as bad as this, and he was doing it with less talent. He was doing it with less talent. So congrats to Penn State for actually firing and doing it and standing on business and saying what you were going to do, and you did it. And Auburn still hasn't done anything because they're going to keep letting it go on and go on and go on and go on. So that's where we're at. But look, I'm going to hop off here. Had some technical difficulties. I did a live and started, and the Georgia stuff wouldn't come off of there. So I had to stop that one, start this one. The background stuff wouldn't come up and all that good stuff. So we just rolled with it, man. It's a Sunday recap. I just wasn't going to go through all that mess again. So appreciate y'all for hanging out. I hate us like this, man. I hate us like this. It sucks, but guess what? Basketball season's almost here, and we won't be able to drown our sorrows anymore. We'll actually have some fun. We'll get to win some games, and I got to go to the pumpkin patch with my kids and my wife. It is up in Uri, Alabama, so I got to get out of here. War damn, y'all. Love y'all. Y'all have a great Sunday, and I will see y'all Tuesday night. Love y'all. War damn, baby.